जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा जम सुंदर राधा जम सुंदर राधे। जय राधा जम सुंदर राधा जम सुंदर राधे। कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा नीलाचल जगचक्र जय जगन्नाथ स्वामी जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी पर्वत में जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी पर्वत में जय गौरानिका जय गौरानिका जय गौरानिका जय गौरानिका जय सच्चिदानंद जय सच्चिदानंद जय सच्चिदानंद गौर हरे गौरा गौरा गौर हरे गौरा गौरा गौर हरे निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो जय गौर हरि निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो जय गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि गो गोपाल की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद दिव्यांगेश ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी गोपाद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद दिव्यांगेश शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगमयी यमुनमयी की जय भक्ति देव तुलसी महारानी की जय सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल all the reach to assemble devotees Hare Krishna all the reach to assemble devotees Hare Krishna all the reach to assemble devotees Hare Krishna all the reach Shri Guru and Gauranga Shubhapad ki jai ओम विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्री मते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी राम नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचार निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य देशतार Thank you very much for joining. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, verse number 14. We did a part 1, first two lines, 2 weeks ago. So we couldn't have class last week due to Radhayatra. Today also they had temple class. They announced last minute, so I cannot cancel every week. So that's why I kept it at 8:30. 9 will be too late. Anyway, so SB 1.1.14. For that, please chant, repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nasta prayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Read from Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 14, chapter 1, titled Questions by the Sages, from Canto 1, Creation, Sarga. Verse number 14. Apanna samsritim goram yannama vivaso grunan tata sadyo vimuchyeta yad viveti swayam bhayam. Apanna samsrutim goram yannama vivaso grunan tata sadyo vimuchyeta yad viveti swayam bhayam. Reading from 1.1.14, verse number 14, from Canto 1, chapter 1. Apanna samsrutim goram yannama vivaso grunan tata sadyo vimuchyeta yad viveti swayam bhayam. Word to word transliteration. Apanna, being entangled. Samsrutim, in the hurdle of birth and death. Goram, too complicated. Yet, what? Nama, the absolute name. Vivasaha, unconsciously. Granam, chanting. Tata, from that. Sadhya, at once. Vimuchyeta, gets freedom. Yet, that which. Viveti, fears. Swayam, personally. Bhayam, fear itself. Translation by Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta from Srimad ki Jai. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. Please repeat. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. So, living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. So, here, so far, this is in Canto 1, Chapter 1, questions by the sages. So far, 3 questions were done by the Saunaka and other Rishis assembled in Naimisharanya, asking Sota Goswami in Naimisharanya. So the first 3 questions are, what is the ultimate good for the people in general? Number 1. Number 2, what is the essence of all the scriptures? Number 2. Number 3 is, why did Krishna appear in the womb of Mother Devaki? These are the 3 questions so far were covered. So now we are discussing 14. The remaining 3 questions hasn't come yet. So we are discussing verse number 14. So the 14th context is Apanna Samsritim Goram. Nama Vivaso Gruna. So Apanna Samsritim Goram. We discussed before last week about this, how the living entity is entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death. What that entanglement means. Which we discussed in detail, like the network of the ropes, network of desires, and we are taking different species of life, Karanam, Guna, Sangha, Sad, Asad, Janma, Yonashu, even form or different form of species, every life we are taking because of the condition in these 3 modes of material nature. Now this, and then we discussed about Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur's details, explaining how this entanglement is and what is the cause, root cause of talking about Asat Trishna, and then Hridaya Daurbalyam, offenses, Aparad, then Swarupa Vibhrama. These are the 4 categories which are causing the entanglement of a living entity And then each one has a subcategory, details of each of those categories. Now today we will discuss now how to get out of it. Now another aspect is also, so far the questions asked, if you see this whole 6 questions, answers of answer is going to be answered by Suta Goswami. Later on Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami will also answer. So the whole Srimad Bhagavatam answered the 6 questions in great detail. So far they asked the topic. It talks about the especially Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. So far in the 6 questions, 3 questions were covered. They were asking about what is the ultimate good for the people in general, what is the essence of all the scriptures. Indirectly, they were asking about the holy name, because that is the essence of all the scriptures, and what is ultimate good by chanting, obviously Bhagavad Dharma, and that is the also the main thing is the chanting of the holy name also. Hold on. Yeah. Then third question they asked about the Rupa, about the form of the Lord. Why did Krishna appear in the womb of Mother Devaki? Nama Rupa. Now, before asking about the Guna, the qualities of the Supreme Lord, qualities of the holy name, then they are discussing here. That's why the third and three good, fourth and fifth questions are they're going to ask about the incarnations, Nama Rupa Guna Leela. Yeah, so the Leela will be there, and before that, the fourth question is about the Guna Avataras. So the Gunas, the qualities, in line even the qualities of the Supreme Lord. So that quality, before they are asking, so here, this specific verse, you can see, Yan Nama Vivaso Grunam, that Nama is holy name of the Lord. How powerful it is, even simply by chanting unconsciously, Vivasaha. Vivasa means unconsciously chanting the holy name. Immediately one will be liberated even from this greatest danger, complicated messages of birth and death. Doesn't matter how much sinful activity we committed. And there are examples, specific exact verses used. We'll discuss that. Before that, we'll discuss a little bit details about this holy name of the Lord. So what exactly the holy name of the Lord? Holy name of the Lord is not different from Krishna. So there is no difference. And Sri Prabhupada quotes this from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this in detail. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Purna Suddho Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. And Nama Chintamani, it gives transcendentally blissful nature. By chanting the holy name, we will attain that blissful happiness, and it bestows so many benedictions, transcendental benedictions. The highest benediction is to develop the love of Krishna Prema. So Nama has that power. Nama Chintamani, it is like a jewel. Chintamani means it can give whatever you want, but not the material things. It can give, but that's not the main aspect of the holy name. The main aspect of the holy name is to give the Krishna Prema. So Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigra, and it's non-different from the actual form of the Supreme Lord. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Purna Suddho. It is pure. It is complete. Purna Suddho. Suddha means pure. Purna Suddho Nitya Mukta. It can give the eternal liberation. The holy name is always pure, and it gives liberation and attain Krishna Prema. Purna Suddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatva Nama Namino. Nama and Nami, that means the holy name and the actual form of the Lord, actual Krishna, personal form of Krishna, there is no difference. And even more powerful, holy name is even more compassionate than the Supreme Lord. So that's why in Shastakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left 8 verses. He didn't write any books, but he wrote 8 verses. In that also we see that Nam Akar Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrar Pita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrasi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamabi Durdaiva Midrasi Iha Janina Anuraga. Beautifully, that verse Nam Akari, all the powers, Supreme Lord has so many immense potencies. All the potencies are included in this Nam Akari. All in this holy name itself. Everything is included in the holy name. So that's why we don't need to endure, I didn't do engage in this, I didn't go for this yajna, I didn't do this charity, I didn't do this particular thing, they are all doing so many things, but I'm only doing chanting. Will I get the same benefit? All these questions are also answered in the Bhagavad Gita. You see in the 8th chapter, attaining the Supreme, the last verse, Krishna himself is mentioning, Vedeshu, Yajneshu, Daneshu, Tapassu, Cheva, Punya Palam Pradishtam, Atyeti, Idam Viditva Yetim, Punya Palam Sthanam, Param Upaiti Charjam. So we'll attain the Supreme, transcendental abode. All the results of all the Vedas, reading the Vedas, doing yajnas, dana, charity, engaging in sacrifices, results of all of these will be, we will get by simply engaging in bhakti, by simply chanting, Sravanam and Kirtanam and other. So the bhakti is so powerful, the holy name chanting is so powerful. And the bhakti starts with this chanting of the holy name. So that we will discuss a little further also. So now in that, even in this case, there is one incident, one pastime. So there is Ajamil pastime that I am going to discuss here, because that is the exact specific verse Bhaktivinoda Thakur is quoting. And then it is exactly describing about the Ajamil. And then there are other incident also from Haridas Thakur explains that in Chaitanya Charitamrita exactly how by unconsciously chanting, how they were liberated from their sinful activity. One is here, in this case Ajamil, at least he was a Brahmin in the beginning. The other one is from Narsingha Puran, Haridas Thakur is quoting. He is not even Hindu, he was a Muslim. So that also is quoted. And before that, even the recent example my spiritual master has mentioned a couple of times, where the whole family is disciples except the husband, the wife and the kids and the parents, they're all disciples, my spiritual master, but except the husband. They tried their best, but then he never listened, he never wanted to follow. He was a kind of atheist. So he never followed. But at one time, so he had to be admitted in a hospital and he was in ICU. And then, so all of a sudden one day he saw these horrible creatures taking him away. Almost he's about to die, basically. That was the situation. So, but somehow or the other, the Lord's mercy, he just saw them, but they didn't take his soul away. So they just gave the glimpse and then they disappeared. And so then he came back to his senses. Immediately he called out all his family members, immediate family who were there. Bring Bhagavad Gita, bring the chanting. I have to read. Please read Bhagavad Gita and chanting. Then from that point, then immediately then he started taking seriously. So that as you can imagine, see. So that's why. So sometimes it is our own karma. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, arranges in different ways for different living entities. So situations, and then that situations will make us realize and understand the position of this material world, and understand what is the important thing, what is the utmost important, what is the most serious thing we need to do, what is the goal of human life. Everything will be revealed. If we are a little bit introspective, that will reveal through the different instances, different occurrences of our own life examples. It could be different incidents. It doesn't need to be the same. But this is one of the incident, real life example just in the last few years. So this Ajamil, and at least they are in the history, that also happened. So you can see, I'm sure there are many examples, more examples in this current, in last 20, 30, 40 years itself. In Prabhupada's time also, many examples. So anyway, so here about the holy name, so that's why here it is mentioned. These Sutta Goswami, Saunaka and other rishis are mentioning to Sutta Goswami before asking further questions. they are mentioning about this, about the first class servant. Before the verse was talking about the first class servant. They are always endeavoring to hear and chant. And Prabhupada quotes in the Canto 2, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not only just chanting. When we say chant and hear, so it also Sravanam, especially Sravanam and Kirtanam. Out of 9 types of devotions, these two are important and prominent. And then Prabhupada quotes Sravanam and Kirtanam, not only chanting but also reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. This must be regularly done. So, what it means, because before discussing for Ajamila's case, let us discuss really, this is a very important point. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in Srimad Bhagavatam again, Canto 2, about this whole, the process of bhakti, how to come out of this entanglement, how this holy name helps, what and all we need to do. There are 3 steps, three stages of the chanting of the holy name. Here the specific stage in this verse is talking about unconsciously chanting, which is stage 2. First stage is Nama Parad, that means offensive chanting. So inattentive and so many. There are 10 offenses, we all know. So that we read sometimes, otherwise it is available in all the books. So in Sunday morning Japatam, we read that before starting. So, but that we all know. But here specifically, the first one is Nam Aparad, any of those offenses covered and chanting with those kind of offenses. That is the first stage, Nam Aparad. The next stage is Nam Abhas. That means unconsciously chanting. It's not pure, means it's not Suddhanam. The last one is Suddhanam. So the middle stage, that is Prabhupada is quoting Aparada stage, and then offensive stage, first one. Second one is called reflective stage, and the last one is pure name, Suddhanam. These are 3 stages. Now, in order for us to really attain the real fruit, then the first aspect is this is the field of activity. The field is, we have to first of all, just like before you grow the paddy field, before you grow anything, first you have to prepare the field. So that preparing the field is nothing but our body, our mind, our senses. This body must be prepared in for seed to be placed in the heart. So Brahmande Brahmite Kone Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripa Vai Bhakti Lata Bij. In order for bhakti, seed of bhakti to be sown in the heart of the living entity, in the field of that living entity, like how we sow the seed, before we sow the seed, what do? At least even if we at home, if we do, it's not so much field, we are not doing agriculture, still at least we get some, some of that whole matter, actually the mud, we have to get whatever brand we get, and then we prepare things. We need a pot, or you grow or you till the land, whatever, you dig it, and then you prepare everything. That is what is called preparing the ground, preparing the field of activity. So especially agriculture, you have to do a lot more. For small things, we may not do so much in detail. So that is actually 6 months or 1 year or a couple of years sometimes. For some people, it takes many years also. So the actual seed, sowing the seed of Bhakti Lata is done at the time of initiation. At the time of initiation, that is when the actually seed of bhakti is sown by a pure devotee of the Lord, bona fide spiritual master, it sows in the heart of in the field of this body, mind, and in the living entities. So by the pure devotee of the Lord. Same way, the gardener is sowing the seed. When everything, it is cultivated, the whole land is still and everything ready, proper water, it's not too dry, it's not too wet. Otherwise seed won't come. I myself has done this year, and I could relate now as I read through this verse and understand Prabhupada's details on this, and then I could relate what has happened how this growing of these vegetables is related to bhakti, growing of our own bhakti. It was very reflective actually. So so the seeds, some of the seeds didn't come out actually, didn't fructify, didn't even come out. There was nothing. It didn't germinate actually. That's another thing. So that's why the seed can be sown. If you go to any other spiritual master, it could be both ways. Spiritual master must be bona fide. The devotee must be also qualified. Must be eager to develop the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prema. Otherwise, this cannot happen. Both sides has to be qualified. Otherwise, you can buy any seed and whatever, and then you try to sow it, and the field is not properly, it's not too dry, and you're not properly putting things, then it won't also come out. So both the things are there. So that's a bona fide spiritual master, and the devotee must be in the right consciousness, right position, right qualification. Then that seed will be sown. Then the Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu arranges for the disciple to receive mercy of the spiritual master. By his mercy, the disciple, the student, the practitioner of bhakti will receive the seed of bhakti in the heart, in the field. So that is the first stage. Before that, this is the preparation stage. The chanting, whatever bhakti we do, that helps to prepare that field to actually receive that seed of bhakti. So that it is depending on how seriously and how much in consciousness we are trying to prepare that. Accordingly, Lord Nityananda Prabhu will arrange. So that is the first aspect. And then once the seed is sown after the initiation, then in order for seed to grow, in order for seed to fructify, in order for seed to come out, sprout, not fructify, sprout. Fructify means it's fruit actually, Krishna Prema. So actually the seed has to give sprout. That means it has the plant, small bud, slowly it will come. I could see I planted this time beans and so many things, spinach, kale, all those slowly. Some took 1 week, some took 2 weeks, some took more than 2 weeks to come out actually. So that's why it's all about our consciousness, and then you have to exactly put what is required. That is what we are going to discuss about this book. So once you sow the seed in the heart, and the careful considerations has to happen, has to be taken. So that is chanting and hearing, reading and hearing regularly, consistently every day. Even if you miss one day, actually, I have seen, then the plant will not come out. The sprout will not happen for that seed. For 1 week, 2 weeks, they will tell. Sometimes they will give instruction on the cover of that when you buy these seeds. Sometimes they don't give, but otherwise you'll know. So generally it should happen within a month time, 2-3 weeks. And then you have to put the water very careful, not too much, not too less. Every day moist. For a couple of days, couple of weeks, then slowly it will come out. You can see break the mud will break, and then slowly sprouting will come out. Same as the seed of bhakti, in order for it to sprout actually. So Madhava Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya is nothing but initiation. So after the initiation, in order for really bhakti to grow, the advancement to happen, like the seed to really start sprouting, you have to water. You have to water. That water is nothing but Sravanam and Kirtanam. That hearing and chanting and reading and hearing, both the things, and it has to happen consistently every day, with faith, with great strong faith, with very much seriousness. Srunata Sraddhaya Nityam Grunanti Swachestitam. So we have to, with very much seriousness, enthusiasm, we have to read and hear, and also chant and hear holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So very, very important process. So that's why we cannot miss even that also. Do you know, generally most of you know, when you are supposed to water the plant, when you are supposed to chant, actually, in order for us to really get the right results. So we are supposed to water the plant, water the seeds, water the plant, water the seeds before which about to sprout. You are supposed to water before the sunrise. Before the sunrise. Even for Tulsi Maharani also, that is the instruction. You are not supposed to put water for any plant, not even flower plant, once the sun is rise. When it is hot, you try to pour water, then it's going to spoil, it's going to die also. Some of the plants will die. They don't have capacity to take. When it is too hot, you try to pour the water, then it's not going to work. So that's why the chanting has a quality when you chant in the morning, early in the morning. So that's it. In watering the plants, you can also do in the evening, that after the sunset. If you cannot do in the morning. But in this case, in our chanting, in our bhakti process, it is in order for really to advance, really to see the results, see the advancement, to go in the right direction, then it is better to chant at least minimum 4 rounds or few rounds at least in the morning. It is very good if we can finish most of the rounds, all 16 rounds in the morning itself, as much as possible. We have to mold our life, mold our job and all other things, adjust accordingly, plan accordingly, all our shopping, whatever needs to be done, adjust. Children's activities, everything adjust accordingly, such a way that you're sleeping and your waking up time, how much, all those accordingly calculate and adjust with your wife and kids, all those activities. So that way it is smoothly done. So at least slowly and gradually you can adjust, so that we have enough time to finish the rounds in the morning. So, and we can see the different quality, and the whole day will be very peaceful. We can see that energy, because energy is coming from the super soul to soul, and then soul to body and senses and mind, and we are so much energized when our chanting, our quality is very good. Nothing will affect that day. If anything happens also at the office or anywhere, we see so many different difficulties, still it won't affect us. We are strong and we are able to tackle it. We are able to come out peacefully, with determination. We are fixed up, so we don't get bogged down by these things. So that's why it is very important, as otherwise plants will die. So if we water it after the sunrise, after sunset is okay, but it's not the best case. Before sunrise, even for Tulsi Maharani, if you have Tulsi Maharani also, try to water accordingly. And exactly you have to water, and every day you have to water. You see, one day, 2 days, one day you don't water the plant, especially now in summer. What's going to happen? Plant is going to die immediately. We can see the result. So that way you can see, imagine what is it. We are not able to perceive it. Whether bhakti is, we are advancing in bhakti or not, we are not able to see it, not able to gauge it, because we are not serious enough. So that's why we are not able to gauge it. And we cannot see where we are going, how far we are advancing, whether we are moving one step above or one step down, going down. So that we are not able to see. But the plant and the root you can see clearly. So I observe every day how much it has grown, what is happening. So I planted many this time. First time I have done tomato, beans, and whatnot, chilies, and many things, all in a container, pots I did. So I could learn this lesson, apply the principles of bhakti. I could relate very much now how things are working and how our progress is happening. So I could relate, I could see that. So this way, so Prabhupada is expert in explaining these things, and we could see what's happening with us in our devotion. So this way, the first aspect is, so we have to protect. Another thing is, we have to protect. So I couldn't protect, and deers started eating. 3 times it ate all my roses. Even after the flower came, I was about to think over to Radha Shyamsundar, and then immediately within half an hour it gone. Then it ate So whole buds it ate, and even the fully blown flower also it ate. What can be done? We're not attached to, we're not supposed to attach to results. That's the Krishna's. It is getting food. What can be done? Nothing much we can do. So we have to protect. That is another thing. Next step, as we prepare the field, as you regularly water and the hearing and chanting nicely, quality rounds, quality reading with rapt attention, as much attentively, as much as sometimes we have to do our tasks, take care of our bodily needs and family needs as we in the morning. So we have to drop the kids or something. So those will be there. That is understandable. But as much as possible, attentively we do. If we can do that, will help us. Then then the next step, as we are discussing this, the bhakti creeper is growing. At the time of initiation, the seed is sown by the spiritual master. As the seed is sown in the field, or the field is ready. Before initiation, we chant and we engage in devotion, associate with devotees, sadhu sangha, all those. And then we come to bhajana kriya. So the seed is sown and then started sprouting. As long as you take it seriously and do quality rounds of chanting and hearing, then we have to fence. We have to fence. That means we have to guard from the offenses. The first one is to protect our creeper when it is growing. All sides we have to fence. As I was mentioning, all my rose, 3 rose plants, whatever I planted in the ground, they are in the 3 times, the deer came and ate. So I didn't protect properly. I couldn't find the thing, shield to protect. This is what happened. I could see the result. And same way that when the bhakti creeper, as it is getting sprouted, and then when you don't protect, when you don't fence, that is especially the offending pure devotee, offending spiritual master and the devotees. Any devotee who is engaged, who started chanting the holy name, any devotee engaged in devotion, so it doesn't matter how far he is, whether it's beginning or your senior or junior, doesn't matter. So we should try to avoid as much as possible. Especially if he is a bona fide spiritual master or anybody who is advanced devotee who is spreading Krishna consciousness, offending those personalities, it is like a mad elephant. Yeah. The whole garden in India we have seen, at least here also probably, when you get a bear or sometimes here also I heard things happen. It will spoil the whole thing. A group of deers come, what it will do? It will eat away all the creepers. Sometimes all the different kinds of animals come and eat away everything. Nothing will be there. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you don't see anything in the garden. Everything is eaten away. So that is the mad elephant. So like it enters into garden, it will spoil everything. So there is no creeper at all. So the bhakti will be destroyed. So that is the first thing. So that's why you have to fence, you have to guard. And then as is the sprouting, as the plant comes out, then other than the regularly watering, the hearing and chanting has to go on until it will go on, not until. It is eternally, it has to go on. So even when you get the fruits also, because you can see the same plant. Do we stop the watering of the plant? No. Even when the fruits come, whether it's tomato or beans or roses, it doesn't matter. Anything you get, still you have to keep on watering till it dies. Otherwise, you keep on watering. Same way, this chanting and hearing, it will go on. That's why even now, so the advanced devotees, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, even including Srila Prabhupada, you can see his schedule, how much he used to travel and he used to wake up and he used to translate, but still he used to chant, still he used to go for morning walk. He never missed his chanting more than 16 rounds. That is another thing. Other than chanting 16 rounds, we should have a counter. We should have some mechanism to do extra chanting. So Prabhupada explains in one of the purport, in order to avoid offense, come out of the offenses, come out of sinful activity, continuously we should chant, continuously, regularly, as much as possible, throughout the day, whenever possible. Minute you think, okay, I forgot, let me chant. While eating also. So that's why you see in Chaitanya Leela, when Mahaprabhu is feeding all these Vaishnava Jagannath Prasad, So then they used to, while eating in between, they used to say, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So in this way, so that's why Prabhupada, when he was taking alone 45 minutes, 1 hour, he used to take prasad. He was taking alone most of the time. He never talks while taking prasad. He is absorbed in how Krishna's Balram, so Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadraman, and Radha Shamsundar, and Gaurnath has tasted it with their lips, tasted all these items, how powerful this Mahaprasad is. So in that consciousness, Prabhupada absorbed, fully absorbed while taking Krishna Prasad also, and chanting and remembering, fully in, that's why that is the quality of a pure devotee. So in that way, so we have to also gradually, slowly develop that kind of mood and consciousness while we are taking even Krishna, honoring Krishna Prasad also. It is very, very important. Not a single grain should be wasted. We take it very lightly. So that is another important thing also. So then we protect the creeper, all round fencing, with protecting from the offenses of the holy name, chanting while chanting, or while reading, while eating, or while engaging any service in the temple. So also, because so many devotees will be there, we have to be careful not to offend. Dealings must be honest. So careful, we have to be careful. Then next, we have to be also protect. So many weeds will come. I have also seen while planting these things and the beans and other things, small, even tulsi plant also I see some things because the mud and whatnot. I don't know how they come, but they come, these weeds. Sometimes there are too many weeds, especially in paddy field, rice, especially. You can't even tell the difference. Which one is rice, which one is the weed. Same way, so while we are growing in this bhakti creeper, after the initiation, anartha nivritti is happening. So many anartha, so many weeds come out. If you don't take it out, what will happen? So those anarthas are the dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So that means we are always looking to, if I confirm this, then what will be this? Oh, this I will get. So this benefit I will get, that benefit I will get. Fruitive mentality is there still. That's why there is Sakam Bhakta, Nishkam Bhakta is also there while doing Bhakti also. But still it's alright, but still that should be removed at some point. Gradually we have to come out of those things. So material enjoyment, still there, those tendencies has to be given up. So desire to enjoy separately from the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, even liberation also we shouldn't be interested in. All our interest should be how to develop Krishna prema, how to especially serve the Supreme Lord's devotees, the pure devotees of Lord, all the devotees, doesn't matter. Everybody is pure, whoever is trying to follow the path of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Parampara. So we should, by serving devotees and the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. So that should be continued. So then automatically this material enjoyment, sense, pleasure, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and also so the unwanted desires. So and then also we must puja and pratishtha. Sometimes adoration. Sometimes we are thinking, oh, they didn't glorify me, they glorified somebody else. He didn't do much service, so I did so much service. I did everything, but they didn't glorify me, or so something or the other like this. So the puja and pratishtha, we see we are looking for name and fame. I'm chanting 32 rounds. I'm chanting 64 rounds. These are not supposed to be. Yes, if it is really required, that's when we post. Otherwise, bhakti is not to show it to someone else. Bhakti is internal. Bhakti is for us. Yes, as a devotees, while discussing, they ask, then yes, you tell them and what's going on, how is the things, and then you can tell, but other confidentially, but not, it is not a display of, it is not like a material knowledge, material education or material certificate. Bhakti is not about at all, not like that. So we should avoid those, that kind of consciousness, especially. So that is that comes under this puja and pratishtha, and we must be obedient, especially the order of the spiritual master. The consciousness, we have to understand the consciousness of the spiritual master. The minute we become disobedient, that means if spiritual master is telling different instructions, not directly but through his classes, then we should write it down, we should understand, then we should try to follow it. At least some of them, wherever it's applicable, depending on what stage we are in. because otherwise it's basically we are not serious, we are not being obedient, we're just simply going with the flow. That's all. So that is still an anartha, that is still an impediment in the growing of the creeper. So otherwise creeper cannot grow, it cannot grow, so it will stay for many years or many lifetimes. So that's why anartha nivurti is a very serious business. To come out from anartha nivurti, go into nishta, it takes it could take many lifetimes also. So it is depending on how seriously we are trying to understand whether the weeds are taken out or not. Constantly we have to observe ourselves. That observation, how it will help is only when we are hearing regularly, observation will help. Because Srila Prabhupada's in purports, in his lectures, or the current disciples, then when they give and they discuss, then we could see, sense what is happening with us, where exactly we are going wrong, where we are doing committing mistakes, how we can correct ourselves. That we will see. If we don't read or hear regularly, consistent day after day, there is no way for us to know what problems we are going through, what mistakes we are committing, where these weeds, what kind of weeds are coming out from our bhakti while doing our bhakti sadhana, while sadhana is going on. So when we understand, then we try to take it out. If we don't even hear and read regularly, self-reading is one thing, but we must hear regularly from others. That is clearly, Prabhupada meant self-study, otherwise it will become like a swadhyaya. So self-study is good, but we must also hear, at least from Prabhupada. If we don't have time to hear from anybody else, but from Prabhupada at least we should hear. If somebody is remote, somebody is too much busy, somehow or the other we have to hear at least 10 minutes a day. But otherwise we should hear from other devotees, especially a spiritual master and other devotees. So that way it helps us to observe ourselves, what are the weeds. Otherwise it will, it is called stunting the growth of the plant. Stunting it is stunted basically. The growth of the actual bhakti creeper is stunted. It won't, it basically it stops. So it won't grow further. So that's where the Anartha Nivrutti stage is like that stage. So many unwanted, and then that some of these we discussed in this previous class of this Bhaktivinoda Thakur's entanglement as described in Asat Trishna and then Hridaya Daurbalyam. Those categories also there, another, these unwanted things. So the weeds must be taken out. Then once we start taking weeds out, we could identify and we are able to take it out by regularly engaging in and also worshipping the deity. That also helps, because while worshipping the deity, then we will be able to come out of the especially enjoyment mentality, detachment, because we are trying to serve the supreme enjoyer. Then gradually our enjoyment mentality, our propensity to name and fame and all those unwanted things, we will come out of it automatically as you serve the deity at home, as much as possible at temple whenever. So by offering different articles, offering different things, and also the it is mentioned like special days. So the special mercy is available. Just like even while doing the planting, while we are doing gardening at home. So what we do, so we water it regularly, but sometimes once a month or twice a month, or not twice a month, once in 2-3 months or once in couple of months, depending on each plant is different. Then we have to put something, fertilizer it is called. Either you put a cow dung or some other fertilizer you have to put. Otherwise growth will be a little bit slow. It won't grow because especially the soil is really good. So then it will help to grow naturally. Especially if you put in container, there is no way, it will not grow so much unless you put some fertilizer or some natural ingredients, or you keep on changing mud. But still we have to put some fertilizer. Especially if you can put natural cow dung, then that will be really good. So it will grow same way. So that is applied in relation to Bhakti Kripa. Is special mercy is available, special growth of advancement is available by serving the pure devotees of the Lord whenever the sadhus, sannyasis come, and also whenever the festivals come, just like we had Radha Yatra, Janmashtami, Balram Jayanti is coming up, after this Purushottam month is coming up also, the 2.5 months, very, very auspicious. So in these months, when they come, it's a great facility for advancement, progress. Receiving the mercy is there. Then that can take out, uproot all the unwanted weeds from our heart, and then it can cleanse our heart actually, big time. But if we chose to utilize it, if we not chose to utilize it, what will happen? Then we will the growth is very slow because of the weeds. We are still not able to understand, not able to recognize, not able to identify all the weeds we haven't taken out. Then it won't grow. So growth is stunted already. But when you receive this advancement through these special days, out of 64 items, Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar Devotion, about these also on Janmashtami and Balram Jayanti, all the special festival days, you have to offer special prayers, you offer special bhoga, special articles, so to the Supreme Lord, increase chanting and hearing and serving, in so many aspects. You can do. You can do at home also, because of the COVID situation. Things may not be, flexible. You may not be able to do it. That's fine. Then you can do it at home. Everything, all these things can be done at home. Most of the programs are happening anyway, virtually. So you might as well do it at home. But mercy is still available by hearing and by serving the Lord at home. Even if you don't have deity, you can do with pictures. You can offer so many things. If you have deity, that will be nice. Small deity also, that's fine. At least you can brush the deity. So if it is brass or something, you can do bathing the Lord. Whatever, you can offer arati. You can bring nice flowers. So whatever, so many things you can do in worshipping the deity. So depending on how much love we show, it's not about how much value of the articles, of the things we bring. It is about how much love and consciousness absorbed, how much we are attached to the Lord. To that degree, automatically our attachment to all other things, all these anarthas, will automatically come out, will be detached from. So that's why the deity worship is also plays a prominent role. So otherwise, Shastra is telling clearly, Pancharatrik Vidhi is nothing but this one. Even initiation comes under Pancharatrik Vidhi. The deity worship is also elaborately is done using a Pancharatrik Vidhi. That's why it mentions Shruti Smruti Purana Adi Pancharatrika Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Varer Utpataiva Kalpate. When we don't follow Shruti and Smruti under the regulations of Pancharatra Vidhi, so that's why that during the initiation there is a proper, you take the achman, you purify all those processes, you do, there is a yajna, and then your name gets changed, and there is a neck beads, all these things, chanting beads are given to chant, especially chanted by the spiritual master. All these things are there. So this is all coming under Pancharatrika Vidhi. Bhagavat Vidhi is Sravanam and Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. So that's why, so it is, so the special mercy is available on these special days. So and worshipping the deity is also is a very plays prominent role. So that way, mind, body, senses, the sinful activities are done using the body, mind, senses. So that's why when these body, mind, senses are absorbed in Krishna, Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. Rupa Goswami explains, quoting Amresh Maharaj, and also he is explaining in some other place. Yena Tena Prakarena Mana Krishna Niveshayit. Somehow or the other, whatever, some different people, different devotees have the different tendencies. Somehow or the other, mind should be diverted to remember Krishna. So, whatever, depending on your propensities and proclivities, so accordingly you try to develop attachment to the Supreme Lord, use some form of the devotional service. That helps. So that helps to detach from the other things, especially all the unwanted anarthas. So that is an important point. So here now let's check the time. Supposed to describe already 9:30. Supposed to describe, maybe let me see. Let me describe about the Ajamila's case. Shastra is explaining the glories of the holy name. Unconsciously chanted. Ajamila in Kanya Kubja in Uttar Pradesh. Ajamila was a wonderful Brahmana. He was following his father's whatever instructions are. He was serving his parents. And then one time they sent, and he was a nice Brahmana, actually regulated fully, is following the celibacy and everything. So fully as Brahmana supposed to do as per the scriptural injunctions, and he was worshipping Narayana and performing yajna and all those, assisting his father. So in one of that day, then his father sent to get something. So while coming, then he sees a prostitute and then a Sudra hugging so publicly. Then by seeing that, immediately he was being agitated, and then he left his wife, beautiful wife. And then he didn't even care for his parents. He didn't even take care of them. So because of the desire, by seeing that when he was not fully engaged, especially bhakti is not done, especially this is in Canto 6, Ajamala Upakyana, Canto 6. Before that, why this Ajamala story was explained? Because Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami explained in Canto 5 ends 26 types of hell. And then immediately Sukadeva, Parikshit Maharaj was so much as a great devotee, Vaishnava, Paradukha Dukhi, seeing the condition of a living entity, 26 types of hell, suffering, then immediately he asked Sukadeva Goswami, then what is the remedy? How a living entity can come out from this hellish conditioning? That's why it is mentioned, Samsritim Goram, that word is used in one of those verses also. That clutches of complicated measures of birth and death, especially the going to the hell, 26 types of hell, depending on what activities we do, all those are in great detail it is described. That hell is there at the bottom, 14 planetary systems. We are in the earthly planet, there are 7 planets above, 6 planets down below us, and then below all these 14 planetary systems, all the way down, there is a hellish planet. There's a planet like earthly planet where we are, like that there is a separate planet for really. Yamaraj is controlling who gets what punishment. And this Yamabhatas comes to take away. And then Prabhupada explained, nobody could understand, the scientists cannot understand where the soul is. But Yamabhatas knows exactly where the soul is. They come and snatch the soul from the living entity and then take it with the subtle body and take it to punishment to the hellish planets and give the punishment for the subtle body. So you can imagine. So that's why but nobody else could know or identify, could catch the soul. So that is the power of the servant of the Supreme Lord. And it is mentioned, Yamaraj knows past, present, future by the guidance, by the divine power. Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna is giving that power because Yamaraj has to do his job. For that, he has given the power to know what exactly this particular living entity has done in the past, in the present. So all those things he knows exactly. So Lord has given that power. Yamaraj, that's why he is one of the Mahajanas. Out of 12 Mahajanas, Yamaraj is also one of them. He is not an ordinary person. He knows exactly what is dharma, what is adharma. And we see in Ajamala's case, by seeing that especially Parikshit Maharaj asked immediately, then Sukadeva Goswami described, instead of going directly to Bhakti, he told, how do you atone for this sinful activity? Because the living entities engage in sinful activity, that's why they are going to hellish life. And how do you come out? Then he started describing, first one, you come out by engaging in some atonement. Either you do some kind of charity, sometimes you get some punishment. So different ways, but it's all fruitive activity. So like you want to go to heavenly planets, or different fruitive mentality is there. Even when you perform some puja or charity, whatever, you are expecting some results. So that is called fruitive karma kanda. That is what he mentioned. So by performing this atonement, sometimes in Christianity also, in other faiths also it is there. You keep on doing sinful activity and go back and confess. That's why in the Manu Samhita it is mentioned that this atonement has to be done according to this 80 plus scriptures. One of them is Manu Samhita, Dharma Shastras. You have to follow according to that, you have to do. And it is mentioned, Prabhupada is quoting that when somebody is doing, especially done murder of another living entity, then generally they are supposed to be hanged. They are supposed to be killed within the same lifetime. Otherwise, what will happen? He has to suffer more lifetimes. He has to suffer even more. When he prolongs the punishment, he will suffer more in next lifetimes. So that's why generally, if the punishment is given immediately, they used to do before. Nowadays, Nobody has that quality of this Varnashrama system. Nobody understands Shastra. Everybody is especially the leaders are of a Sudra quality, mode of ignorance. So they are not aware of anything, any rules and regulations. So that's why the problem is. So the punishment is not given. Sometimes the mercy is given. This pardon, even though he has committed so many crimes, killing people. Then what will happen? He is relieved now, but he will have to suffer many lifetimes for that. Otherwise, if it is he is being killed or hanged now itself, then next life he will get back to his normal, because he already received the punishment now. So otherwise he will suffer more. So that's why that kind of, there is a, depending on the degree of the sinful activity, there is a degree of atonement in that. So if that is the karma kanda vichar, fruitive activity, fruitive mentality, with the expectation of the results, whether it is charity or austerity or whatever we do, so that is with the attached to the result, karma kanda. And then the next, so the Parikshit Maharaj said, no, this cannot happen, because I see all these thieves and plunderers and rogues and murderers, they are going to prison, coming out, doing again, going in, coming out, doing the same thing. This atonement is not helping. They are coming and confessing and doing the same mistakes again and again. How is it going to help? By simply doing charity, by simply some small reformation here and there, then what is happening? No, they are still doing it. Even though they see, they heard, but still they do it. Then he said, no, yeah. So now the next process is better process than karma kanda is jnana kanda, by prayaschittam vimarshanam, by reading the Vedanta with a mental speculation, not understanding the supreme absolute truth in reality from a bona fide spiritual master, but with the understanding, trying to speculate. So trying to read, especially self-study, or trying to bring especially to Brahma Jyoti, merge into the Brahman effulgence without any variety, understanding the supreme personality, without worshipping the supreme person. Basically, they don't, especially Jnana Marga, they think that the person is become Narayana. Everybody is Narayana, especially at one stage when they take sannyas. Or Brahmavadi means they think everybody will merge into Brahman effulgence. That is the highest form of the Lord. That's what they think. This is different. This is all Jnana Marga. That it gives this kind of atonement by reading the Shastra from Vedantas, but with a mental speculation. That also has a drawback, because still it is then Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj says, no, this also, even after hearing also they do same mistakes. We have seen. He is giving examples also. And then he talks about the yoga also. Yoga also the same problem. We see Vishwamitra Muni and Saubhari Muni and so many others. Years and years of tapasya and yoga, what has happened? Again, proclivities, the tendency is there inside the heart. It is not getting purified. Again, same mistakes they are doing. They are getting agitated. So then Parikshit Maharaj asked, this is like a elephant taking bath. Why should I chant the holy name? This question is there. Why should I chant the holy name of the Lord? Hari, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Vishnu, Krishna, Balaram. So why should I chant? One pastime also, one place, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining, when Samba, Krishna's son, was arrested by the Kauravas, when Samba went to, especially he fell in love with Duryodhana's daughter, Krishna's son, grandson. Then Balaram went and rescued. They argued. No, we cannot release Samba. So because he has done this. But Balaram could agitate everybody. Balaram was in a fierce fight. Balaram is a spiritual strength. He is the Adi Guru. Then they all was fearful. Everybody became fearful by his valor, by his strength alone. He could defeat all of them. Then they have no choice but to arrange marriage and release Samba. So then Prabhupada explaining in the purport that by chanting Balaram, by taking the shelter of Krishna, Balaram, Narayana, Vasudeva, then we are come out of all the greatest dangers. Otherwise, will not be save ourselves. We cannot save ourselves from the greatest danger. So that's why chanting of the holy name. So why should we chant? Because any other process will not work. So then Sukadeva Goswami talks about this. Those it is all other processes like uh, putting a trying to put water or things in a liquor bottle. Liquor bottle you take and you purify, you clean how many times you want. Still you try to clean and then you put some water or something into it. Will it be clean? No, it cannot be. So so that so yeah. I was talking about Sura Kumbam Ivapaga Prayaschittani Chirnani Narayana Paranmukam Sura Kumbam Ivapaga. The living entities who are performing all of this Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Yoga Kanda, and engaging in this kind of atonement, it is like cleaning the liquor bottle and putting things into the liquor bottle, cleaning. It still has all those tendencies, proclivities. It is not going to really clean the heart, those tendencies of lifetime after lifetime develop. So then he brings this point of performing pure bhakti, bhakti yoga. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agam dhanvanti karsnena niharam eva bhaskara. It purifies everything, lifetime after lifetime, whatever simple activities, including the desire, the proclivities, whatever is there in the heart. Atonement, automatically simple activities will be nullified, but not only that, it removes even the desire to engage in simple activities. That also gets nullified by this Kechit Kevalaya. Simply, just alone, bhakti alone. We don't need any other process. Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana, attachment to serving only for pleasure of the Lord, not for other motives. That's why there is a Sakam Bhakta and Nishkam Bhakta. That means without any other motives. Especially pure devotion when we engage. Anya Abhilashita Sunya. No other desire, no other motives other than just serving the Lord without any expectation. That's what is happening. Then he brings. But then they get, yes, once upon a time, then this Ajamila Brahman, and then he was attached to this prostitute by seeing that lusty desire, because he didn't engage in bhakti. He worshipped, he was helping, he was following all the rules and regulations, Yama, Nima, whatever, Brahmana's qualities, Satyam, Saucham, all those. But he is not fully engaged in devotional service. But he worshipped a little bit, Lord Narayan, performing some puja and all, but he is not really engaged fully in devotion service. He was assisting his father and all. But because he has engaged some worship and some form or the other, little bit, so that has helped. Even though he was attached to this prostitute, then it has happened. Then he was attached, then he left everything, his family, he didn't even take care of his parents. Then he took that prostitute as a servant, maid servant in his home. Then later on he left his wife and then he married that prostitute. Then he had 88 years. He lived 88 years. And then he had 10 sons. The last son's name he called, he named it as Narayana. So then he was engaging simple activity left and right. He used his father's property and then he wasted everything. And then on top of, because where will you get money? Every day he used to give different ornament, different things to satisfy the prostitute. And then he was keep on giving different things, and then he was keep on doing all kinds of cheating and everything. You name it, all kinds of simple activity he performed. Because of that, then he was eating. That's why this is another important aspect. We take it very lightly. We eat anywhere and everywhere sometimes. We don't. It's okay. Once in a while, it's okay to eat outside. There it is mentioned. Prabhupada is quoting, mentioning because he also not only performing this cheating and stealing and killing and whatnot, but he was also eating the food cooked by this prostitute, unclean. When a person who is unclean, man or woman, cooks and then somebody is eating it, and then that implicates so much. Prabhupada is explaining that. So when we go to restaurant, do we know whether the person is have a clean habits or unclean habits? What he has done, we don't know. So as much as possible, we have to avoid as much as possible, at least outside restaurants. Yes, our temple restaurant is fine. We have restaurants everywhere throughout the world, wherever most of the places ISKCON temples have. At least we know they follow the Vaishnava standard, they offer, and the etiquette, certain cleanliness, all these things. But outside restaurants, there is no standard. Whoever they pay, and then they come and then they do. But what exactly they are doing in their personal life and what cleanly standards they are following, we don't know. And when, especially if any of these scenarios arise, and then when we eat, that's it. It gets implicated. Then to come out from those kind of situations, then it becomes we will not even know. We will not even know why this has caused. Immediately, sometimes we fell down, or sometimes drastically our enthusiasm is gone down in bhakti. We don't have taste for chanting. We don't have taste for hearing, reading. Completely, we are vexed up with bhakti. Things happen. Then we know what is the result. Because of this unwanted association, unwanted, especially the eating from this unclean food, from those who doesn't perform bhakti, who is not clean, and then it implicates. So that is another point we have to take from this Ajamila's case. And then as further, then Ajamila was, then at one time his time is up, when these three Yamadutas came with horrible personalities, so much fierce looking personalities, with all they have all kinds of weapons, chains and whatnot, to take away, snatch the soul. And then he called, because before that what has happened, he used to call Narayana. Oh, no, because he named Narayana, small son, so much attached. Then he used to call, Narayana, I'm eating, come and eat with me. Come and drink with me. Come and sleep with me. Everything, in each and every activity, he was 88 years old, too old. Then he was so much attached. For every activity, he was calling Narayana left and right, his son. So indirectly, not knowingly. So generally, that's why this is in second stage, because without knowing, he is calling. He is calling only his son. But it became almost like, so even if you chant Lord's name, that's why they are named, that's why at the time of initiation, Prabhupada quotes that Govinda Das, Krishna Das, and different names of the Lord is given. So that way, even if the person chants his own name when he is leaving, when there is a danger, then he will be saved. Immediately, he will be saved. That's what happened in Ajamila's case. He chanted only Narayana's name, but unconsciously, vivasaha, unconsciously, unknowingly. And then immediately, what has happened? Immediately Vishnu dotas came. And this happened for almost the last 6 months or few months or more than that. He keep on chanting Narayana, he's calling his son's name every day, so many times. Each and every time, whatever he does activity, then he used to call his son. So in this way, because of his chanting, all his sinful activities, whatever he has committed, everything got nullified already. But because he has done so much sinful activity, many years, till 88 years old, and he had even small baby, this Narayana is only 2 years, 3 years, like that. You can imagine, 88 years old, Prabhupada is explaining. We are not supposed to be in this kind of ashram, in Grihastha, still having kids at that age. Prabhupada is explaining. So that's why there should be a certain proper regulation. Yuktahar viharasya yukta chetasya karmasu. There should be a regulation in our life. Otherwise, it will not. It halts, it creates stunts or growth of bhakti. There should be a limit. And that should be checked. If we have questions, we should check confidentially with the spiritual master or advanced devotee, Shiksha Gurus, so that way our doubts will be cleared and what to do, what not to do. Any questions related to anything in general, serious things, we should discuss confidentially. So that way we know whether it's the right thing to do or not. So in this way, so the Ajamila, then he was relieved. Then he chanted Narayana. He was obviously at the time of this about to die. Then these Yamadutas came, they were about to snatch. Then immediately saw. Then he was so fearful. He immediately called his son Narayana. Then immediately he could remember. All the acharyas, Prabhupada is quoting. He could remember the actual Narayana, but because he chanted Narayana, his son's Narayana, but immediately could remember Lord Narayana, because he has done in the past as a Brahmana, he has followed some regulations and he served Lord Narayana, because the Brahmana is supposed to Narayana Sila. So in this way, some performance of bhakti, they are not so much, but some because if it is fully regulated, if he is fully engaged in bhakti at that time, then you wouldn't have come out even after seeing. So when we are strong in bhakti, then nothing gets agitated. We don't get agitated by seeing anything. Otherwise, especially in today's world, this is happened in, I don't know which yoga this happened, but Prabhupada explained, in today's world, everywhere this, you can see every day. Prabhupada explained this, whatever Ajamila has seen, this we see it every day. It is nothing secret. Everything happens in public these days. So then, unless we are strong in bhakti, then we will be caught up, will be agitated very quickly. So then we have to be, that's why we have to follow this Yama and Niyama. Yama is four regulative principles, Niyama is chanting the holy name. Both has to go on regularly, consistently, quality. More and more chanting, then that will restrict from agitation. That will control. Even if we come across things, then we don't get agitated. Our senses are strong because intelligence is sharpened fully. That mind, it will control the mind automatically. If the intelligence is not sharpened, that means the chanting and the shastra, hearing classes, reading regularly, that is the sharpening of the intelligence. If that doesn't happen, then mind immediately gets captured by seeing that object, seeing that particular situation, immediately gets caught. Then there is nothing about it. Arjuna himself is claiming that mind is very difficult to control. So that is the situation Ajamila was in. He got caught, but finally, because of the previous engaged in some kind of bhakti, little bit, then he was saved by calling Narayana. He could remember Lord Narayana. So it is mentioned by chanting one name, Dahari. And then he also quoting Narsingha Puran, one who is especially Muslim, is killing. He was killed by a boar. It is not a mlecha. So not mlecha. What is the Damstri? Damstri is boar. Damstri, Damstra, Hato, mlecho. So he was killed by a boar. Then he called Haram, Haram. Means condemned. Oh, this is boar, heinous creature. Haram he called. But even still, that Rama has a inside another word which is there. Directly we don't see, but Ra, R-A and M-A. In between that, there is a Ha also. So means when you pronounce, you will not see, but it is there. So Ha Ram. When he mentioned, unknowingly when he chanted, he also got liberated. Even though he killed by boar, and immediately he said Ha Ram. This is from Narsingha Puran. So Shastra is quoting, when you come from this offensive stage to clearing stage, as well as reflective stage, the chanting of the holy name, unconsciously, mistakenly, even if somebody chants in a comedy way or entertainment, because he doesn't know. But when we chant, the one time, only by chanting once, the offenseless chanting, especially even not even Suddhanam, but one who is chanting unknowingly, not knowing the actually, so he's not doing any offense. Like Ajamila performed simple activity, but still he called his son, only his son, but he chanted Narayana name without knowing. So that is coming under this reflective. He is not in offensive stage. So that's why even by chanting once it will clear sinful activity even more than you can commit. Living entity. So Prabhupada is quoting three different Puranas, Narada Purana, Garuda Purana, Skanda Purana, and some other Puran, Brahmand Puran, quoting how by simply chanting once, but it must be in a second stage, offenseless stage, which is Namabhas, means unknowingly. He doesn't develop the pure devotion, but he is chanting with that. Then what about those who are chanting with pure? Then they develop Krishna Prema, they attain spiritual body. So that's why, because of the interest of time, I'll stop here. If there are any questions, but I just cut short. Much more to say, but it's already too late. Let me stop here. So this is what he is talking about, especially by the holy name has all the powers, and how we use it, and then our bhakti grows accordingly. We have to see the creeper will cross over all these three modes of material nature, 14 planetary systems. It reaches through even goes cross over the 7 layers, false ego also. And then ego gets also purified. Then it will enter. The creeper will cross over the Brahma Jyoti, enter, and then it reposes at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. and then attain the fruit, receive the fruit of Krishna Prema. That the fruit is, we attain that fruit and then we keep on engage in this service of the Supreme Lord and His devotees, even in the spiritual world. That's when actually it begins. Because when we get purified, that's when the actual real service begins. Real service begins when we are completely purified in that stage. So that's when. But we have to go through all this. Anartha Nivritti stage is the biggest step, biggest stage after the initiation. Then we come to Nishtha and Ruchi and Asakti and Bhava. That is a little bit, at least Nishtha. When we cross over Anartha Nivritti, when we come to Nishtha, then it becomes much easier to come to Ruchi and Asakti. And then Bhava. So then those are all little bit easier, because then we always take also, we are very careful of this. But as long as we are attached to the spiritual master and devotees and hearing, always taking association of a sadhu, following guidance of at least one advanced devotee, then we will not fall down from any position, even Bhava position. Otherwise, that tendency is there, falling down from that position also. Like Bharat Maharaj and other places, other instances also we see. So that's why that following the spiritual master and Anuvartini. So the Anu is the important word, constantly, and following the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master is very, very important. So that's why self-study, self-reading is not going to help much. So it means it will help, but only to some extent. If you don't take proper guidance regularly, then it is not going to help in our growth of Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Kripa. So with that, I will stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Vrindra, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shapapad ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Let me unmute, and if anybody has, or you can unmute yourself. If anybody has questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this nice class. I had a comment, Prabhuji, not a question. My comment was, it's just amazing how in the Bhagavatam, first chapter itself, the glories of the holy name is being brought about so wonderfully. Usually, it's they say the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the last verse, it's ending with the glories of the holy name, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita starts. But actually, we can see in the first chapter itself, the glories of the holy names are so wonderfully given by Sukadeva Goswami.
Correct. Nama Sankirtanavasya Sarvapava Pranamo Dukkha Samanasam Tannamami Harim Param. The last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, last verse, it talks about the glorification of the holy name. Nama Sankirtanavasya, simply chanting the holy name, whether individual or collectively, then Sarvapava Pranasanam, it will remove all the sinful activity. Even we cannot even commit that many, everything. Tannamami Harim Param. Let's take by taking the shelter of that Supreme Personality of Lord Hari. So many places throughout Srimad Bhagavatam you see the glories of holy name, especially in Chaitanya Charitamrita, also in great detail. Especially Haridas Thakur is explained. I didn't, because of the interest of time, I couldn't cover. Otherwise, I had many verses from Ajamil and many points from Haridas Thakur also about the holy name. Maybe some other time, because I know it will come again in the later on in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll cover further detail on that.
Yeah, and I also wanted to thank you for bringing up this point of what Srila Prabhupada said. By constantly chanting, we can overcome this offensive mentality. So that was very much, very, very nice for me to hear. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions on the phone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandas Pranam. This is Sada Sundar here.
Dandas Pranam. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining and giving your association. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your association. So for the quick question on the stages of the Bhakti, which we have Maya is there still end of the Bhava stage, and especially when each stage and in the particular stage where Guru Maharaj said we will, after initiation we become Nistha, right? Like we become very steady.
Initiation is called Bhajana Kriya, then Then Anartha Nivurti. Then Anartha Nivurti is a longer period. So if you are very serious, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur said 3 lifetimes. If you are really serious, then 1 lifetime. At least Prabhupada said, in order for me to perfect chanting, it took 15 or 20 years. Prabhupada himself humbly, he said. So you can imagine. So that is Anartha Nivurti stage. Means Prabhupada is humbly submitting, but he was a pure devotee from the beginning, from his childhood. So that's a different story. But in humbleness, he said. But for us, if we are serious, as we understand through these, how these anarthas, these take out these weeds of bhakti in so many different shapes and forms. We'll understand as we from this, especially this was quoted from Canto 2, Lord in the Heart. That is chapter Canto 2, chapter 2. Especially first 3 chapters of Canto 2 is very important. For that matter, Canto 1 and 2 are very important. In that also, Canto 2, first, second, third, 3 chapters with purport, great detail. If you study, we will be able to get to know all these various anarthas and detail and how to come over this, cross over this anartha nivurti stage. At least we'll have a more detailed understanding. So it helps us. Then we come to Nishtha. Nishtha means fixed up. We may be a little bit fixed up now, but that fixed up is nothing but we don't have any other. Every day, every minute, every week. So nobody needs to tell what to be done, how to do for festivals or ordinary days. Everything will be so fixed up, so much attached to Guru and devotees and service and the Lord, the holy name. So all the aspects of devotion that is called Nishtha. Then we start developing taste. Very quickly that progress will happen. Nishtha to Ruchi, Ruchi to Asakti. But then Asakti to Bhava, it will take time because Bhava means ecstatic symptoms. Slowly you may see sometimes symptoms one day and then one day in a month or something. Then that will, as it becomes thick and thick, consistent, then it could take years or it could take, depending on how seriously and how much we are taking association of advanced devotee like a spiritual master or another Siksha Guru who is advanced. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Bhajana Rahasya and Jaiva Dharma about these steps. Each step has a specific characteristics and a specific what to do, what not to do, some the principles, what to follow in each of these steps. So Rupa Goswami explains also, and as well Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in detail. Rupa Goswami, which book I don't know, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Bhajan Rahasya, and at least we are in a stage where we are in Anartha Nivurti stage, so that's why it is better to go in detail on Anartha Nivurti rather than going to next stages detail, because we are not at there. Then knowing those advanced stages, yes, briefly we should know, but going in detail, then it's not going to help. Like Prabhupada never used to talk about Srimad Radharani, because we are not at that stage to understand. It's no point going and discussing those things. So that's why it's going on the Prabhupada's line. So which stage, depending on which stage we are in, so at least till Anartha Nivurti, even those who are initiated or not initiated, it helps us. Because we all have some kind of anartha, this or that. So at each of these stages, before initiation or at the time of initiation or after initiation also. So that way it helps us. So this, the last class and this class is, that's why I emphasize more on this Anartha Nivurti stage by giving this example of a creeper and the gardening and our own bhakti and devotional service correlation. Because Prabhupada quotes and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and other acharyas gives these examples and relation. So
right. Even a little bit of anartha is impacting chanting. So yeah, you are right, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. We'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ki jai.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.